thinking about the name of the podcast being a couple of Cypriots having a chat. That's what I'm thinking.
like that, but
that's what I'm thinking. But I want it more catchy though than that.
Couple Cypriots.
Couple Cypriots on Greek. On Greek.
Similar time, innit?
Hey, but do you know what though? I've always found naming the podcasts the hardest part of it sometimes.
Yeah, I think sometimes the name will just come to you anyway. When you have people on it and we're talking and whatever, it will just come to you, innit? Yeah,
I know. I don't know why I'm so caught up on like trying to figure out. But the thing is, I do enjoy like figuring out some like crazy names. Because some of the podcasts I listen to, they got like the weirdest names. I think, yeah, that's sick. I like that. Yeah. And then I just feel like, oh, let me try to figure out some mad name.
Bro, you should just call it Gassed Up George.
Gassed Up George. the mashallah.
Yeah.
The Cypriot gang. Nah, that's shit. That's a shit one. Let's not do that.
But yeah, I think that those things will just come to you as you.
Yeah, I think you're right. Andy, my man. Thanks for being a guest on the team.
It's #1 guest.
#1 guest. Also my next door neighbour.
Yeah,
pretty much next door neighbour.
Pretty much.
5 houses down. PT, but you also much more than that. That's cool.
Think you can do this shit? Jay! You think you can do this to me?
Typical.
Amazon.
The problem when you get engaged.
Oh, bro! I forgot that.
Is that people send you fucking presents, bro?
We can just cut. We can cut that.
Yeah,
we won't even start again. We'll just cut that.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go.
Welcome back.
I'm back.
What was that? Was
fan mail coming in.
Yeah.
Royal mail.
Yeah. So, alright. First of all, actually, congratulations on getting engaged.
Thanks, bro. About time, isn't it?
Big step. I don't know. How long have you been with that?
I'm coming up to 11 years.
Oh yeah. So you.
Long time.
Slowly,
innit? You know, it's like in the Cypriot way, you do things slow, bro.
Yeah. I feel that as well. I feel like it's got to be time. I've been with Jay 2 years. I think she's the one.
Yeah.
But I feel she won't listen.
She
won't listen. No, she won't listen.
Don't worry, I'll send it to her.
Do you know what we say? Don't listen to the podcast. I don't know what madness I'm going to end up saying. Madness I'm going to end up saying. But yeah, Andy, thanks man for on such short notice. Do you know what? I was a little bit nervous about doing a podcast because it's been so long because of lockdown, and I didn't want to do the Zoom thing because
not as
I need the energy there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like being with people.
Yeah.
So you're PT, but you're much more than that. You coach coaches.
Yeah.
You help people go from 0 to 100 real quick. No, you help people move their business in a way. Because I mean, talking about PTs quickly, how have you adapted to working in lockdown over the last year? Yeah,
I mean, for us it wasn't such a big deal because we were doing a lot of remote stuff anyway.
Oh really?
But I think. So we were fortunate in that way, so it was an easy change. Although there was a lot of customers that we had to try and gravitate onto Zoom and stuff. But hey man, a year later, if you was to tell me I would be doing the majority of my stuff via Zoom without going to the gym, I would have been like, nah, that's never happening. But there's a quota of clients that don't want to go back to the gym. They're happy doing it. I think people have learned that they can save time by not commuting. They've got the kit at their house.
This is it.
The laptop goes on. Instead of them training at 6 AM, they train at 7 because they don't have to commute. And yeah, so we've been fine, but I think a lot of PTs have struggled, and I think it's just because they haven't been able to pivot. Technology is a thing. Like, we've been like 2 hours trying to set up this camera, and like, you know, some people are tuned into those things, and some people ain't.
You got to train. It's a muscle. It's like a muscle, isn't it? You got to train these things.
But I just think, you know, you're there, you're employed by your clients to lead from the front. And like, if the leadership gap widens, people leave you. And it was a time to just stand up and go, look, I'm going to support you, I'm going to look after you. I know finances could be a problem for people, but this is the time where you stand up and show them what else is available, because the pandemic was new for everybody. So we just had to be flexible and pivot around. And I think that was the major message.
And you know what? It's such an important message. I think it was almost the most unexpected, unprecedented thing that's happened definitely in my lifetime, bro. Like, definitely in my lifetime.
I think in your lifetime, your mum's lifetime, your dad's lifetime, your grandparents' lifetime, it's like one of those things, no one's seen that.
And it has taught us flexibility. Like, from a business perspective, I said to you earlier when I come in, I was made redundant from a job that I pretty much just started as well. And I think it just teaches you, it's bigger than you at this point, do you know what I mean? And I think that flexibility, I mean, to me, is key in leadership anyway, but it's also important skill for people in general.
I'll tell you what it also done is made you realise what was important in your business, in life, in general.
Straight.
A lot of people had to trim the fat on things they were doing in their business that was not necessary. And you learned who your real customers were. I know some people had fallen by the wayside because of financials, and that's fine, I'm not saying that, but you learn who are really going to try and look after you, and you push and you look after them as well, you know?
Yeah.
It's a two-way game.
Yeah. So give me an example, and I've got the insurance bucket if we need. Yeah, I've got the insurance bucket if needs be. Give me an example of where a customer may have fell off, and why that could have been, when we forget financial in this time.
I think it was mainly financial, man. I don't think there was anything like malicious at all. You can't be looking at clients going, oh, you didn't look after me. At the end of the day, everybody's got their financial button, and it's a financial commitment. But there is some people that have stuck with us who are under financial strain, but they've stayed with us because they want to look after the service. They know that, you know, when things get better, they want us to still be standing so that they can use their service. But at the end of the day, it's made you realise who really look after you when the times are tough, because they were tough for everybody. Even if you thrived, it was tough.
It's more effort to reward, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, you got to implement more effort, which is part of the flexible. So that's the PT side. Tell us more about what you do for the coaches. Is it
qualified personal trainers? It's getting them from 0 to their first 5k months, and a lot of it is you do your PT course. It's usually accelerated within a 6 to 12 month period. They teach you some of the basics, and then it's like, go on in, go and get some clients, and you're like, what do I do? Like, there's rents to pay at places, I get employed by places, or I'm on my own and I'm like, how do I even set up as a self-employed? All of those legal things that you have to do, the accounting stuff. Obviously I'm not an accountant, I would advise you to go there, but it's like getting that shit in line first, and then giving them actionable tasks so that they can get themselves going. Because the hardest thing in any service-based industry is getting your first client, and then what to do with that client to help yourself grow.
You said something interesting there about there's a lot of things to think about when you're coaching, and one thing that I've learned from coaching my clients is sometimes that relationship where you speak the things that you're stuck on is quite important in able to grow, like getting out of your mind, giving that to someone else to reflect your way of thinking about it, I suppose. Like,
I mean, you know, we've been in business as More Than Muscle maybe 6 years now. I've been doing it for 10, 11, doing my own thing as well, but it's like I've always had a business coach to lean on, because there's always someone who can help you with the next bit. And it's an expense, but you should always see a return on that expense, because at the end of the day, you've selected this person to help you grow.
It's investment.
To help you
investment over expense.
Really. And I tell you what, it's been the best investment I've ever had. And the fees have changed over time, but only in accordance to our own growth. So I think like that's what I want to give back to the new generation of PTs is, I've been doing this a long while. I see you struggle. I see there's been a pandemic. Let's help. You know, and obviously I enjoy that stuff. So if I can help, that's what I want to do with it.
How much do you think your passion for the industry helps with what you do?
I think, you know, I got into the industry because I was an athlete once. I got injured a lot.
What
I played football, right? So my goal back in the day was to make it. Yeah, I think a lot of kids had that. I didn't quite make it, whether I was good enough or not, whatever. But I used to get injured a lot. I used to get told a lot by coaches on certain fitness things. And one day I got sick of it. I was like, you're telling me stuff, I'm not sure if that's quite right. I'm going to go and learn it for myself. You know, you learn the science, you learn that stuff. They
were planting seeds in your head that you questioned.
Exactly.
What sort of age did you start questioning?
About 16. You know, when you get to that age of, are you going to get pro, are you not? You've dropped off, you go non-league, like a lot of boys do. and it's not quite working for you, but it's not because you're not putting effort in. Because they're like, you need to try hard. I'm like, mate, I'm busting my balls every single day.
Yeah.
I'm trying hard. It's not because I'm not trying hard. Maybe I'm not good enough. Cool. But you're not going to think like that when you're in it. You're going to think, how can I get better anyway?
Yeah.
And so fitness was a thing. I was always one of the fitter boys anyway. I could run all day.
Yeah.
But there was a few injuries that I was getting. I wasn't the quickest. I wanted to learn to get quicker, things like that. And I just learned some of that stuff. And then it was at a stage where, you know, you're 16, you're turning 18, you've never had a job because all you've ever done is play football, and you're applying to places like Curry's and, you know, IKEA and things like that, and they don't even give you a job because all your friends who have left school have had like retail experience and whatever. All I was doing was refereeing and linesman for £20 on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And
my little brother,
you know them college ones,
yeah,
isn't it?
My little brother.
And you know, my best mate became a PT, and I was like, I need to do this. I love what he's doing, and I went and got qualified 6 weeks, and I was in. Got a job at Virgin Active, and then, you know, it was always my passion to have answers to the questions that I didn't have answers to. Make sense? And like, my clients were my best source of growth. Yeah, well, you do things with them, and, you know, obviously you're supposed to be qualified. You're only as qualified as you are in that state. So I thought I was qualified then. Yeah, so you work with your clients, things work, things don't work, and then you go, oh, why is that not working? Go and read, go and learn, find the holes, try it again on them. It starts to work, or it doesn't work.
Bridging gaps.
You're bridging gaps, exactly. And, you know, 10 years later, we're still doing the same things. We're better than we were, at least we think we are. And you learn a lot along the way, but you see the new gen coming through, and you're like, that's what I did. I can help you accelerate that growth.
So,
because
before we get into that, that's important. But it didn't, because you went to university to then study.
Yeah, but I went to university late. So I've only just graduated. I graduated during the pandemic, so a couple weeks back, with the certificate came through.
Oh, no.
The masters was done late. Like, I already had a fully fledged business.
So what spurred that on to go out and get that?
You know, I was at a stage where I wanted to help others.
Yeah.
In the professional realm, not just my clients.
Yeah.
I was at a stage where I was writing quite a lot of fitness magazines.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into a little bit more of the journalism side of things and write papers and things like that. And I was doing corporate seminars. And at the end of the day, if you're speaking, although you're giving the best you can give, sometimes having the title next to your name makes it a little bit more warranted. So
yeah, I agree. Do you know what? I struggle with that sometimes. Like with that, like when I get asked to speak, I always think like, am I fucking blagging this?
Yeah, but
like,
the truth is, it doesn't matter.
The qualification doesn't matter because the value is in what you talk about.
Yeah. It was done.
Yeah.
It was done for me to understand in my own head that I'm not blagging it. Even though at the period when I wasn't qualified, I wasn't blagging it. Yeah. But it was just to give myself clarification.
Is it a confidence thing?
I've never really had the issue talking in front of crowds.
No, but confidence in your ability,
but it was
confidence in the value of your ability, maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it was a case of like, it was a box that needed to be ticked so that I could say to myself, I'm getting towards where I want to get to in my profession.
I see, okay.
Yeah,
I see.
and people say, what did you learn in that time at uni? And the truth is, I didn't learn much more than I already knew in terms of strength and conditioning.
But did it validate what you did know?
Validated, but also it taught me how to learn, which a lot of people don't really know.
Let's go into that a little bit, because I was never an academic at school.
By no means am I academic either. Yeah?
No, but this is what I want to say, because I think there's a lot of people that are probably watching the show.
Because, bro, there is people that were on my course who are super academics. I'm like, whoa. I can't even get to that level, nor do I want to either. But I can't get to that level, one, because a lot of my mind is over onto the business side of things that I'm looking after, rather than sitting down reading hundreds and hundreds of papers and doing stuff. But secondly, like, it's one of those things, I think education is only warranted if you can apply it. If you can't apply it, it means nothing.
Well, that's what I just wanted to make sure that's still recording.
Yeah.
Knowledge is only power when you apply it. Do you know that said? Knowledge is
what
power,
I mean.
but it only matters when you apply the knowledge. In fact, like, knowledge is pain if you don't apply it, because if you know something and you're doing it wrong,
exactly.
Like, I think you're almost a bit silly.
So like, I found it hard to motivate myself when I was doing the course, because I was already doing, 40 odd hours of personal training.
Yeah.
And I know, like, a lot of the guys, their motivation was to work in professional realm, working with sports clubs and the rest of it, which is fantastic, do your thing. But a lot of them hadn't even had experience holding the gym kit. Like, they never held a barbell before, and I'm like...
That's crazy.
It's crazy, because you know all the stats, all the papers, but applying that knowledge on the gym floor, which is what we were learning, you had no experience. So I was almost coming into it as if I cut my teeth, but now I'm learning to learn, whereas they already knew how to learn doing their undergrads and whatever they did, but they didn't apply it. Yeah. So we met in a different way. Yeah. So
with that learn, I just want to dig into that learn to learn, because we're not taught that at school. Like, we're not taught. I think even society doesn't really teach us to like find our own way of learning. So that process probably took a while, but how did you start clocking that process?
So when you go to school, when you go to college, you get taught. You get taught the subject. They teach you, this is maths, this is how you do it, this is science, this is how you do it. When you go to university, at least at my course, and it seems the way with anyone who's done a master's degree, I'm not quite sure about the undergrad, the way it was taught, they teach you how to learn. They don't teach you the subject. You go and learn the subject yourself.
Oh, that's
hard. So the thing that you learn is how to critically think. So if I tell you, George, you know what, 10 bicep curls will make your arm big. That's what you learn at college. But when you go to uni and you do your master's degree, you go, 10 bicep curls makes you big. Why? Then you criticize that thought, you go and have a look, you do the research, you find out your weighted decision, you go and apply it, and then you have your philosophy on what that research tells you. So you start learning how to learn, and you create a philosophy. Because, you know, we've spoken off cam about things like, how do you coach? But the first things first, the science is the same for everybody when in the topic that you're doing. Yeah? So for me, it's, you know, the human body and locomotion and muscle and all of those things.
But I think that mindset must come into it. Surely how someone looks at fitness, how someone looks at their own body must impact the way that they train.
The science is the same for everybody, but the way that we get that across, the philosophy that you have on the research, is what makes you unique. Yeah, that's what makes you you.
Yeah, how you deliver that message.
How you deliver it. And that's really important, because without that, you're just a Google canvas. You'll just go on there, hit Google, how do I do a sprint? It tells you.
Yeah.
But the way I tell you how to do it obviously sits with the science, but the way I tell you to do it might make you do it more, or you might enjoy it.
It's delivered differently.
It's delivered
because you know, and this is how I sort of fell in love with wanting to be a motivational speaker, because I find you can listen to as many people as you want, but then sometimes you just come across one video and the way they deliver it just completely sits with you in a different way and allows you to apply it. And I think that's the same in what you're saying with, it's not always about the message, but how you deliver the message, how you put the message and how it sits with the person.
I mean, one of the first exercises I get all my coaches to do is, before we start, I'm write me a philosophy statement. It's four lines on what your philosophy is.
On whatever?
On personal training, on coaching.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And you. We work for 12 weeks and then I get them to write it again. A lot of the time it changes. And I say to them, another 12 weeks, it will change again. It will change. That will never be static. Your philosophy will never be static. It will just grow and refine.
Or it doesn't always grow though.
No, it could go the other way.
Exactly. It could spiral.
But it won't be static. But who you are as a coach, whether it's personal training, mindset or whatever, it will start funneling into a direction that you currently are in. It's a current state. And then you will see clients over the next 10 years and they'll catch you at different states of your life. The science is the same, but the delivery of it will always be slightly different, because the thing that makes you a really effective motivational speaker and also coach is telling stories. We're telling stories. You're not telling the science.
Because you said earlier, sorry to interrupt, especially like in human behaviour, psychology and mindset, there's really only 10 to 15 things that really impact the way you look at things in your human behaviour psychology. But it's how you deliver those 10 to 15 things that really have an impact on it. And so do you deliberately work on delivery, or is that something that you allow to just flow?
I think you don't. You don't deliberately work on delivery whilst you're in the deliverance. You may work on it in other facets. So like now, for example, we're doing a podcast, I'll watch it later when it's up. And I'll probably watch it a few more times than the viewers will watch it, because I'm on it. But that would work on my delivery in the future because I'll pick up on things on how I've done it.
Reflecting back on the situation.
It's the experience bank of doing these things. And I always, again, back to those coaches, I'm like, if you ain't good at public speaking, you're going to find this difficult because whether you're doing it in front of 100 people or one person, you're speaking. Whether it's the camera, you're speaking. And I don't expect you to be good, but let's just try and build some experience of doing that.
Yeah, let's just talk about that because I think often we fear. Oh, do you know what it is? This is what I want to say.
Go.
We fear of we fear the fear of doing something because we want it to be right.
Yeah.
But you're never really going to be able to get it right.
It's never going to be
the
right.
first time. Yeah. And even if you do, I don't think that's even healthy because then you've got
you're there already.
You're there already.
Are you? Yeah.
But are you there? Because or is it? I don't want to say beginner's luck because I think there is such thing as like natural talent and skill. I mean, doesn't mean it can't be worked on.
Again, like my post today was actually that, and it was about a feedback loop of just do your thing. Yeah. You will see some data from the people you are coaching. They will either say, Andy, this is shit, it's not working, or they say this is really good, for example. So then you've got a feedback there of whether what you're delivering is effective. Yeah. You will then do it more often and refine. You'll then refine it, and then do it more often, and this feedback loop will keep going. And you keep getting better at it only if you seek it.
And only if you do it.
And only if you do it. So if you are stopping yourself from doing it because you're in fear of it being perfect, you don't grow. And also you don't get the info. And
a fear that you ignore becomes a belief.
Yes.
And then that changes everything. That changes the way of life after that.
Exactly.
Because if you and it's so hard, like it's not even easy. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, it's easy to do something. And I was telling you earlier about like the YouTube videos that I've been doing, like mate, I'll do that because I'm fearful of it and I really want to get to grips with like, doing something that I'm fearful of because
the best thing you can do is seek influence when you're in that scenario. So what I've always looked at is if there's something that I'm very bad at, that I want to be better at, or there's something that I'm really fearful of, I need to put myself in that scenario more often. But firstly, I won't put myself in that scenario because I'm scared of it.
You do a smaller version of it.
Maybe. Or I will seek influence on people that are doing it.
Okay, so you create exposure about what you're doing.
For example, if I'm not good on camera, I'm going to get around people that are going to make me do it. Then all of a sudden, I realise it's not that fearful anymore.
Yeah, because you're watching someone do it, so it's changing the way that you look at that experience, and it's getting you exposure.
Exactly.
To that, like this is where environment comes in, and they talk about if you hang around 6 broke people, you're about to say the 7th.
You're around, you're around 6 people that you are the 6 people you hang around with the most.
Yeah,
same kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's about the exposure angle. So I want to talk about it from sort of one of your clients' perspective, as someone that's new to fitness. So someone that wants to get into fitness, that is struggling to find the motivation, they could have created anxiety around it, just created fear around it. What would you advise them based on that philosophy of exposure and how they can go about doing that?
I think it's clarity. Firstly, you have to help someone be clear on what it is they're trying to achieve. So a lot of the time we get inquiries, they come in, they're like, I want to lose a bit of weight, and like this and that, and my joints hurt, my back hurts, and I've got to slip this. And then we assess them, and none of that's really that true. Yeah, all right, there might be some weight to lose. But the assessment process...
But that's just the product.
Yeah.
It's the process.
But the assessment process is where we see a lot of the data on what we need to do. So you realise they haven't got a slip disc, they've got tight glutes or whatever, and it's causing back pain. They are a little bit overweight, but then we look into the reasons why they're overweight and what they've been doing, and then we provide them with a clarity statement of this is what needs to be done. Then we go to them, look, this is what needs to be done, but how much do you want this? Is it high enough in your priority list to make a commitment? Because at the end of the day, if it sits here, it ain't going to get fucking done. I've seen it 100 times. But if you can get them here, then boom,
there becomes a reason from an excuse. That's what changes.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, people are humans, we know that, and we do the same fucking mistakes all the time. We give ourselves a mountain to climb. Yeah, so Christmas is the one, New Year's comes, New Year's resolutions. So like, right, I'm going to lose weight.
Do you get more calls in January?
I mean, personal training is usually February, because January everyone goes to the gym, they try their thing, and then it don't work, and in February they come in.
Madness.
madness. But it's usually like things like, Andy, so in January what I'm going to do is I'm going to train with you 3 times a week. I'm also going to do 2 spin classes, 5 box classes. I'm not going to drink any alcohol. I'm going vegan as well. And at the same time, all I'm going to eat is grass. Unsustainable.
Ain't got a lot.
Ain't got a lot. And then your grandma just goes, what are you doing? Anyway, from that point, they lose weight. Yeah? Without you, they're losing weight. Because if you do all those things, fucking you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
You've gone from 0 to hero.
There's a formula to losing weight.
You have created such a mountain that the drop-off is big.
So you're creating friction to the goal.
You're creating pain. Because you're getting success out of pain. You're not getting success out of, you're enjoying these processes. Nice. You're building sustainable little lifestyle things that you're doing.
Because it's key to enjoy what you're doing. So if you don't enjoy it, you can't sustain it. If you can't sustain it, it's not a result.
What we try to do with our customers is flex their willpower muscle. Yeah? And you need to do that by focusing on small wins. Yeah, makes sense?
Yeah.
So if you focus on the small things, you increase the desire to do it more.
So let's take this out, because we're not just talking about the gym now.
No,
this is life. Everything. This is life. So, and I'm massive on what you're talking about.
If you flex your willpower muscle by, fueling your desire, you reduce pain. Yeah, and what you get out of that is more small wins. If you get more small wins, what happens? You do it more fucking often, and then you get results.
So there's this interesting model. You definitely look into it, man. It's BJ Fogg. I know you may have even heard of him, and he says like behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about what you're saying there, like you said, like less pain creates more motivation and ability, which allows you to.
At the end of the day, if I'm like that guy who's having chicken rice and broccoli, it works. Of course, it works. Yeah. But let's just put you out of your clinical vacuum that you're in and into real life.
Yeah.
You're now sitting down. It's Greek Easter. Your mum and dad are having SUBCRIBE. Yeah. They're eating it with a bitter, and you're looking at it, and you're there with your salad that you didn't even put olive oil in because you don't want to. that dry, no hummus, no nothing. But you're losing weight, but your face is like this. What's the fucking point, man?
Yeah, trust me, yeah.
But what if we showed you a way of having that SUBCRIBE, having that bitter, having that hummus, having that dashi, putting it all in there, and you still lost weight? Because at the end of the day, it can be done.
Yeah.
As long as you understand the bigger picture, you're not looking for it through a fucking straw, which you think that one meal is going to change everything.
And how much do you think society breeds that vision?
Listen, we live in extreme. And we live in extremists, yeah? I'm either Arsenal fan or I'm a Tottenham fan. I can't be a football fan, yeah? So I'm doing CrossFit. Why can't you just go and weightlift? You have to be doing something because we like to be affiliated to stuff.
Yeah, it's like an identity validation sort of thing.
It's identity validation, so we're talking about these mindset things. So what we try to do is help people get there because you need in some cases that's good because you need to push towards something you want.
Yeah, it's true.
Being shredded.
But it can't be the pure purpose.
But it can't be the sole reason that identifies you because at the end of the day, that is you.
And it's external.
What about the internal shit, your feelings?
Because Nat put out a post about the intrinsic.
I don't read that shit.
Yeah. she won't watch this anyway. But I just want to talk about that internal motivation as well. Yeah. Because whether we're talking about fitness or whether we're talking about life and achieving goals, it's the one thing that's going to be able to get us there, which is the motivation, determination. Yeah. And by doing that by small habits. Have you ever seen that post? Like if you grow like 0.01% for 365 days.
It's a lot of growth.
It's a lot of growth.
Yeah, it's the same as this, yeah? So we get this in fitness all the time when people are trying to lose weight. They're like, yeah, I had a healthy meal, so like, I took having avocado and eggs and stuff. I'm not eating bread.
That's actually my morning breakfast.
Yeah, standard. I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
But
why are you making me feel like
the truth is, avocado is quite high in calories.
And
think
high
about
fat
it.
as well.
And high fat. Because the reason why it's high calories is because it's got high fat. It's the densest calorie.
Fair.
Your eggs are the same, but maybe you have 2 or 3 eggs because we need to fill up.
Yeah.
It's quite a high calorie dinner. Breakfast, which is fine. But it doesn't matter if you're managing your whole day and your whole week. Yeah? You can factor it in. But if you're not thinking about those things, then over your whole big picture, you could be overspilling on your calories and then causing weight gain.
When you say you're not thinking about those things, what exactly do you mean?
So for example, if I factored in that I'm having a high calorie breakfast, then I might balance out the difference.
If you're trying to lose weight though?
If you're trying to lose weight.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
If you're trying to lose weight?
I'm giving that extreme.
So what you're talking about is back to the clarity of goal because you can't hit a fuzzy goal.
Yeah. So instead of me saying, You know, you're not going to have any bread. I might say to you, well, how many times do you have bread? They're like, with every meal. I might say, well, you can have bread with every meal, but instead of you having 2 slices, you're now having 1 or 1.5. We've already created a sustainable win because it's manageable.
Yeah.
But if I say to you, no bread, what happens, bro? Man is going down the kebab shop tomorrow and I'm getting all the sublagi I can get with all the big tests.
Or they overindulge when they do have it.
Or it's like when George is not here with the camera, blood, man's in there. And then no one will know. So sometimes it's creating small wins so they can see results, because it doesn't have to be a big change. And then as the changes happen, you get more desire to do it. You're not in pain because you're happy state, and all of a sudden we've created a sustainable domino effect of results, rather than I got the results, I fell off, and then there's a such thing as an 8% rule, right? So the 8% rule is if you're super restrictive with your diet, you get such a big drop in weight. Yeah? Then you fall off it because you inflicted so much fucking pain on yourself that you go back to how you were. You go back to that weight plus 8%. You then go, fucking hell, this is bollocks. I want to go back to how I was. You know that time when I was in good shape, you know what I'm saying? You go back to what you were doing because it worked the first time. You lose the weight again. Then you go, fuck, this hurt me so much. Boom, plus 8. It's yo-yo.
Yeah, and also that must do something to your like mindset about doing it. Like I'm literally just gonna out here. Insurance bucket there. The keto diet for me is a load of shit.
I mean, you know, there's
in my opinion, because I don't think it's sustainable for someone to completely cut out.
Listen, there is the right way of doing anything, and then the way you see in fitness magazines and blogs and people that are promoting these keto fucking drinks in Ibiza or whatever. At the end of the day, there is some research that shows that if you have epilepsy, it could work for you. Yeah. There's also a certain way that you do it. We don't recommend it too much because at the end of the day, what we want to fuel is performance. If you're down on energy and you're not eating sustainably and you're inflicting pain on yourself and you can't go and train and do the activities, then it's a catch-22, isn't it? Yeah. So if you're really sedentary, maybe we'll use it because you don't do fuck all and you don't deserve to eat the calories. Simple. But there is an easier way to do it and a more sustainable way to do it for a lot of people than do that. My biggest problem with keto is people are doing keto, but they're not really fucking doing keto. They're drinking this keto drink, and then tomorrow they're out on the piss having fucking Prosecco.
Defeats.
You're not on fucking keto then, are you?
No.
So, it swings and roundabouts. There's the right way of doing it, but it's getting preached on social media by people that are not even qualified to be even giving you keto.
Yeah, and even if
who are you to tell me?
Do you know what? I just want to just because what we're saying doesn't just apply to the fitness world.
No, it's everybody.
Everyone has experienced this, and I think one thing social media does really well, it gives people power that are in it for another value. But
you know what's mad? Going back to diets. Diets are not the issue. It's the mindset, the values,
and the beliefs you hold.
The beliefs you hold behind those things. People need to be taught behaviours. They don't need to be taught directly behaviours, because if I start saying, yo bro, your behaviours are fucking dumb, bro, you'll look at me and go, I ain't doing that, he's an idiot, he's told me. We need to almost coach behaviours into people rather than diets, because food is food, man.
You need to understand what drives that behaviour as well.
Exactly.
Like, because until you really understand what drives the behaviour, there's no real, you can't be an assistant in shifting it.
Exactly.
But also, like what you said about the diet and your mindset and how you look at it and the beliefs you hold, I was like, not that this is heavy, I got to about 15.5 stone, but I was one of those guys that held it really bad. Like, I'm not saying I'm like the skinniest guy, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, I held it really bad, and I changed like my diet, but I didn't really change the diet. I changed the way I looked at food, and I just want to take up. I'm not just talking about diet here. I'm talking about like life as well, my mindset. And I stopped wanting to eat shit food, not because I was on a diet, but because I wanted to be a healthy person. So I changed the shift of...
You had a healthier mindset rather than you eating and
exactly.
At the end of the day, food is food. Yeah,
and that even helped me get away from drug addiction as well. Like, being like the healthy person, being...
But then let's just go back to that, yeah?
Go on.
Drug addiction is a mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright, the things you put in your body will affect
there's some science to it.
Yeah, of course.
But it is, ultimately,
it's how you perceive what makes you feel good. Yeah, so
it hacks the reward system.
It hacks the reward system. Exactly. So if you can get that formula back in play, you're now in control.
Without the drugs or without the food.
So drugs, diet, training, money, business, the whole thing is about being in control and also allowing yourself to understand that you're in control. Because if you're not in an understood state, then you don't know whether you're in control or not.
Can you explain being in control? Because when you say that and...
So listen, one of the reasons why you probably had good success is because you've taught yourself about behaviours, you've taught yourself about mindset, you've taught yourself about control, and you've also taught yourself about the impact that these things are having on you from a physical standpoint as well as... straight away, by having that knowledge bank in you, being educated, you can be more in control because you understand, you're aware, you have a clarity. You have awareness, you understand the implications of whatever it is you're doing. Yeah? Whereas a lot of clients will come to us on a diet perspective, and the reason why they're making the mistakes is because they're uneducated. Not because they want to keep having wine and they want to keep eating chocolate and they want to keep being fat. It's because they're not clear enough on the implications of what they're doing because they haven't been taught.
Which isn't a problem. It's not their fault. It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
And in fact, but the people that come to you are the people that are not coming to you.
No, but yes and no, because some of the people that come to us, they also are still not aware because they think purchase, reward. It doesn't work like that in coaching. Some of the guys that can afford your fees, they probably used to going over to the counter and going, here's the cash, give me the product. Don't work like that. You need to work for this. So the hardest thing that we have is belief systems. Because you have to break behaviours and belief systems. So I can tell you the right thing, but if you don't believe me...
it means nothing.
So that goes back to the social intelligence thing. And I didn't mean when I was saying this off camera about us changing who we are, but we need to understand where they're coming from so that we can get the right tools across to them so that it changes.
Because coaching is not about you and what you believe, it's about what them and what they believe.
It's about facilitating them to answer the questions that they already have answers to.
Exactly. And do you know what? Learning to be a coach and going through my accreditation teach me a lot about myself, man. I don't want the answers anymore because I think the question's more powerful. And I learned that about myself. A lot of people like to have the answer, answers these days because they go on Google, they check out a YouTube vid. But sometimes the question is more powerful than figuring out the answer for yourself.
Exactly.
That allows the growth.
One of the things I've noticed in my coaching as I've grown, and now that I'm more aware looking at other coaches, is the young ones, and I don't mean young as in age, but as in coaching age.
Maturity
age. They speak more than they listen. And I was guilty of that as well. Whereas now, you don't have to speak as much to get the result. You hear, you absorb, you see, you have the tools, and then you look at how you can get them to answer it. And you also need to know the client, because you have some people's behaviours, they like to tell you what to do. And then you have some people that are tell me what to do, please. Then you've got other people that if you tell them to run through the glass, they'll run through the glass and the brick wall. They'll do anything for you. You have to understand who you're working with. And for example, with those clients that like to tell you what to do, if I tell them, right, you need to be doing this exercise, they'll go, fuck this, I don't like this. But if I understand the way they are, I need to find a way in which they tell me how to do the exercise that I want them to do.
That's interesting.
You understand? So it's a mindset game that you're playing with the client the whole time. To get them to do the same thing, because all three of them need to do the same thing.
Because you're rallying with them, basically, tennis rally.
I don't want them to get their defence up. I want them to open up to me and go, right, I need to do this and give you 100%. So the way I come across in giving the same information will be different from person A, B and C, but they all need to get in the same goal. You understand? That's where I think your maturity comes, but also your social intelligence is really, really important. There's a great book by Brett Bartholomew, it's called Conscious Coaching. It's a great book because it touches on those things. It's not about, it's about getting buy-in from your client. If your client buys into you and your methods, you're winning. But they're not always going to buy into you because they have their own belief systems. They may have worked with someone else. Whether that someone else...
There's so many factors.
It's multifaceted.
And even it can go back to their family beliefs and things like that as well. Yeah. But also, I truly believe that that's what you're talking about is earned. It's not given, it's earned. Do you know what I mean? And talk about how you earn that position, because it's not a conscious thing. When you've got a client, I know when I've got clients, I don't think, how do I earn this? How do I earn that?
No, but so
are you saying
you can be an unconscious coach, which is what I think I was at the beginning.
Yeah.
Whereas here's the science that I knew at that time, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
But I was unconscious to who I was coaching. Whereas now I'm very conscious. I know.
So you pay more attention to the person.
I pay more attention to how I need to get the information across. What vehicle do I need to use?
Okay, that's good.
Because that's what makes you really effective. Because I could write the best program on Excel. I could type it in a good font. You know, do all them pictures. They can fucking put colours, put tables. And then the client goes, fuck this. But I could scribble it on a piece of paper.
And they get it.
They still don't even look at it. But somehow I got it into them that they loved the way I was conveying it, and then they went through the roof for me.
So
it's the same program.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying there, because ultimately what you're saying is you're making it work for the client, but the message that I'm hearing from a point of view is make it work for you. Like,
it's working. See, that what you just said is the one. It's actually working for you.
Yeah, because a lot of the time we work. Yeah, a lot of the time. No, but even outside of a coaching, like the coaching world, for people that are listening to this, that are trying to create habits, that are trying to create patterns and behaviours that are going to help them.
It's the magnet theory, isn't it? Yeah, you want it to do this. You want your coaching clients to do this. They're here when they begin. You're here.
Yeah.
The closer you get to the middle, the result happens.
Yeah.
If you're both doing this, it's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that happens a lot in life with people, and I think their behaviour they try to adopt, or the identity they try to adopt, is something that they either struggling to believe or they're causing friction with it because they're not making it work for them. So they work for the behaviour, and there's working for behaviour is going to cause some friction because you might not necessarily enjoy what you're doing, which then causes the magnet effect.
One of my mentors back in the day, and this is talking about strength training. Yeah, strength training is a really complex matter because it's so multifaceted on how you create a program and you get someone from here to here to make them strong without breaking them. Yeah, and strength is also very specific in the outcome you're trying to get from that strength quality. But I like to use it in life, and what he said was, being a true strength coach is like learning another language. He was like, if you can spit the bars you need to spit in in that language you're trying to convey, then you truly know it. And what he's trying to say is, you truly know how to speak another language when you can make a pun. Yeah? Because you can say something in a language, you can say the same thing 10 different ways, and it will mean something else.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%.
So I can say mashallah to you, and it's a joke, but I can also say, oh, mashallah, you know, saying it means the same thing.
Yeah.
But it means different things, but it's the same word. One's oh sweet, and one's saying, come on, my bro.
Yeah.
So when you're writing training programs, or when you're coaching, I think you need to be able to make a pun in that language you're conveying it, because then that means you truly understand what you're giving it to.
And it shows your
in depth,
and your ability to be able to convey it in a simplistic or in multiple ways to fit the person as well.
It's like an onion theory, innit? It's like how many layers do you have to the same thing.
Yeah, do you know what, man? I find it so interesting. Like, I love just talking to people and finding out about their perspective, because I feel like the human connection. Like, the reason why I'm doing a podcast is because I think these sort of insightful conversations allow people to look at things in multiple ways, which is really what we're talking about here. Yeah. Because we're talking about PT, but I really want people to know that watching. It's not just about
PT.
Fitness or PT or being a coach. This is
I'm glad you said this, G, because people always say PT. I'm not PT.
No, I don't look at
I'm a coach. Yeah.
I think the first time I met you when you were moving in, it said coach on the back, and I was like, my guy.
But why I say that, because there's a lot of personal trainers out there that will say, you're not a coach, you're a personal trainer, that's what you do for a job. Cool, that is what I do. But I think personal trainer is a job title, whereas a coach
is a way of living.
Is who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's a bar.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And at the end of the day, I got into this. So going back to the first question, what was your passions to do this? I like fucking helping people, bruv. Whether it's making more money, whether it's making... You know why? You know why? Because the original reasons why I got into doing this was having the answers to the questions that I didn't have myself. So me working with people has made me more wise, because I have more answers to problems that other people have that I may not have.
Yeah, and this is what
you know what that is
to listen to.
You know what that is? See this hair, yeah? It's
what
growth. Exactly. I was going to say it's growth, but that don't work because there's no fucking hair. But it's growth. Yeah, the thing that I like is growth. I like seeing growth because if you see growth, you see progress. I like moving forwards. And when I see other people making success based off some of the things that I've helped them with, it makes you feel good.
And also, it's a two-way thing as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like, because they feel good, you feel good, you feel good, they feel good. And what I just really want to go into the human connection thing again, because like you just said, like a big part of your growth as a coach, as a man, as a way of living, is being part of developing your own skills based on someone else's needs on top of your own. Because when it's bigger than you, it's easier to achieve, because you know that maybe if you were started off looking for the answers for yourself, but then that
what it teaches you is that you can't grow on your own. You need other people. Yeah. Whether that's business, because there's so much stuff you can do in a day, you need to delegate and grow and stuff. Or whether that is your personality growing, you need human. Like, one of the biggest problems that we have currently now is that there's been a whole year where people have been in isolation. I see people come out of isolation now and they've fallen back 3 years. They're anxious about going to the down the road because they're gonna be caught out somehow. Or they're like, 15 minutes, whereas before you just leave with 5 minutes and you'll get there. They're like, 15 minutes, I need to get prepped. What about traffic? They've gone backwards 5 years. And also, it's like, we could just have this conversation like this, open, chilled, whatever. You're in my house, we're chilling, we're talking, whatever. Like, people they don't even want to hug anymore because they might get a disease. Bruv, if I can't hug, bruv, I want the disease now. Give me the disease, bruv. Give it to me. Because it's human connection. If we can't even do that, if we're dry as toast, if we're dry with toast, no butter, no honey, no jam, no nothing, just what is life? It's dead.
It is, bro.
What is life without people? It's dead. It's dry. Look at my dog. If I'm not here for the whole day, he's upset. But he wants interaction as well. He comes in, he's running around, he's happy. We need to get back to that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but how would you advise someone to get over that initial fear of going back to
how it was?
Because even me, when you're saying that, I'm thinking, listen, I'm do you know what I mean? I'm an open book, man. Like, so for me, it's a little bit easier to convey how I'm feeling, to like talk about that sort of stuff. But I feel like some people, it's not as easy as just going back to hugging or doing that.
I mean, we're talking about this in a really narrow...
I
think the biggest picture I'm talking about is being robust enough to deal with problems comes with putting yourself in scenarios that are slightly dangerous.
Stoicism. That's the
Stoicism. So sometimes, if you're so clinical that you're going to be like, I'm going to keep 2 meters. Or, my food dropped on the floor. I'm like, 3-second rule. Like, when I was a kid, I was eating food off the floor, bruv. That's how I got my immune system up over time. I didn't know that then. Man was eating shit off the floor. You know what I mean? I never washed my hands for a week.
Yeah, it got like that as a kid.
But there was also times where, like, at school, I didn't like doing the presentation. I was like, when's it my turn? You know when you're at school and you're waiting?
Yeah, I used to hate
and then you had to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was me. But now, I could stand up in front of thousands of people and speak about what I know. If it's something I don't know, of course I'm going to be nervous. Because I don't know.
But would you do it? Would you do it though?
If I had to
for the experience.
If I had to do it, I would be put in that scenario and I would be squeaky bum time like everyone else. But it's being bold enough to put yourself there, make the mistake, and grow.
Yeah, straight.
And so how do we get people out of this? Make them fucking hug, man.
Yeah, and also like no, but what you're saying is like it's the truth as well. Like people add they stack the reasons why they can't do something. And they like I'm always caught up on people want to make the right decision.
Yeah.
People want to make sure they don't make the wrong. That's too much information. Like there's too many different factors you're talking about here.
Like don't get me wrong. There's time and place where you have to make the right decision.
100%.
Because if you keep making the wrong ones, you're fucked.
Yeah, but if you keep making the wrong ones, the decision has to be made. You need to reflect.
You have to reflect.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like,
and one of the big problems, G, is like when people use it as an excuse, they're like, it's because I'm dyslexic or it's because I'm this that I can't make the right decision. Even though that might be the main problem, you can't sit on it and say that's the reason.
Yeah, you can't.
You have to grow beyond that. So what do I need to do to counteract that?
Yeah, if
you might have to work harder.
Yeah, you're either going to let it limit you or you're going to let it grow you.
Exactly.
Like you're going to grow from it or you're going to let
And that's not me saying like if you're dyslexic, you're back. What it's me saying is there's going to be people have got their like.
But we all backfitted on something.
Yeah, people have got their handicaps on loads of things.
Yeah, straight.
But what it is you might have to work a little bit harder at overcoming something that someone else might find really easy, and that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
You've also got a strength that other person hasn't got, and it's about finding. And do you know what? I'm learning that. One of my biggest strengths is the way I can communicate. I never knew that, and even at school, like, I used to do that. But I was the class clown. I was like the one like part of the look how I'm messing about. But I was using that skill, but I didn't know I had it. And I think sometimes trying to find that thing that you find easy that everyone else finds hard.
And you know what else is? People who don't you will say, oh, he does that so easily. Like recently, people were like, oh, you're so good on social media. My social media is dead, bruv. Also, I don't find it easy. It's just taking practice of doing something that was shitter. I never used to do that.
You're expanding your
If you knew me 5 years beyond, I was that guy with a clipboard and a whiteboard and writing my programs, training, everything was like, now I'm training people online, I'm training people on Zoom, technology's got things systemized, I do my own editing, I do my own filming. I would never do that. I would have been like, fuck that. So it's one of those things, if you want to grow, you sometimes have to look at your weaknesses, put yourself into there and grow from it, providing that's the direction you want to go in. Yeah, you don't have to do that. You might be happy there. It's like also, you know, I'm sure you've read the book Power of Now. People also need to be aware that growth is not always good. Sometimes you just need to be present and go, you know what, I'm happy.
Yeah, bro, I need we all need that.
Because if you're always climbing the ladder, you're also always inducing stress, and there's a fine line.
You're not enjoying what you've already got around you.
Exactly. I'm quite cool. Let me sit here, chill, look out my window. I'm happy.
Yeah, man.
It's a pretty life, isn't it?
Yeah, that. Do you know,
cigarette and a coffee and some sublagya.
Yeah, that's it, man. Andy, listen, I don't know how long we've been filming, but we've chucked it up. We've chucked it up, Cypriot style. Before we close up, man, is there any finishing words? Any last things you wanna?
Well, I just think if you're gonna take anything away from our gas that we've come here, is that if you wanna grow, if you wanna progress, then the first thing you need to do is look within yourself at the things that are blocking you move forward. If you can understand that, then someone can help you. But if you don't understand that, that might be the biggest shin pad that's stopping you.
I love that. The biggest shin pad.
The biggest shin pad.
You heard it here first. Thanks, man. Thanks for dropping out with me. I've enjoyed that conversation.
I bet it ain't even filmed.
Yeah, probably.
I bet the mics are off.
I wonder, the mics are something. Look, if you haven't seen this, if you're seeing this, it's a fucking miracle, to be honest. Look, all I'm going to say is go follow the social medias. I'm going to put Andy's social medias in the description and DM. I was going to say, subscribe to the motherfucking channel. Go check out on Spotify. Thanks for being here with us. Take care.
Peace. Decent.
That was good, man. I really enjoyed that.
Do it more often, bro.
I really.